One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads. I'm feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free. I told them take some chains off me and throw away the locks and keys. If they would just let me be, eventually I'm gonna be free.
Hey, that's right. There we go.
What up, though? What up, though?
What up, though?
What's up, everybody? It's another week, 7 days that went by, and we're getting ready to kick it off once more. Me, Mike Ball, my man Aaron. We've been hitting these topics left and right for the past couple of weeks, and we're about to hit another one.
Yep.
I think this one here, we're gonna try to knock this one out the park today. But the topic that we got going on, I mean, of course, everybody knows that the whole dealing with Ukraine and Russia and the U.S. and NATO and everybody getting involved in it. But in a bold move this past week, Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, once again pointed the fingers at the U.S., basically saying that we're at fault for the Crimean attacks to their alleged interference to their region. So Putin's claims to have sparked a fury controversy with many international leaders around the world. Now, a lot of us know that back in 2014 is when Russia did the annexation of Crimea, which was widely condemned by the international community because they was like, no, that's not the way you're supposed to do it. But despite this, Putin was adamant that the move that he did was right. And of course, it raised tensions between the U.S. and Russia, and that's basically where a lot of these sanctions started at. Um, but what's going on now has more far-reaching implications, and if not handled correctly, could lead us to just straight up war for real.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The
so we're
two
gonna hit
largest feared entities of that kind of nations. Yeah, that's brutal. What could
right,
happen with those two powerhouses?
right, right. So as the drama unfolds, and one thing's for certain that Putin is taking a provocative stance, and which adds another layer of complexity to this already volatile geopolitical situation. So we're going to hit this and a couple other things tonight on the dominant effect.
That's right.
So,
That's right. Shoot. Look at that. It's awesome.
so what we gonna do? I got a quick little 30-second um, video that I'm gonna play right quick, and then when it's over, we'll jump knee deep into this. All right.
Let's do it.
Russia has now warned the US of, quote, consequences and summoned the ambassador after a Ukrainian strike killed 4 people and injured 151, with the Kremlin saying the strike was barbaric and accusing the US of killing Russian children, and saying, quote, the involvement of the United States, the direct involvement as a result of which Russian civilians are killed, cannot be without consequences. And as far as what the Institute for the Study of War says happened, they say Ukraine fired 5 American ATA CMSs, 4 of which was shot down, and 1 of them was impacted by Russian air defense, causing it to deviate from its path and explode over a city. With the Institute saying they found that Russia is likely placing military facilities near civilian areas in Crimea to try to deter further Ukrainian strikes.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't know that happened.
yeah. So this just happened here a couple days ago. So what we have here is now throughout this whole Ukraine Russian war, whatever you want to call it. I mean, basically, it's a proxy war.
Mm-hmm.
We've been there and talked about this once before, exactly what a proxy war is. And to those who wasn't listening or wasn't watching at that particular time, I'll explain it again. So a proxy war is basically where you have a war between 2 different parties. Now, on the outside of those that's fighting, you have your dominance on each side. Okay, so on Russia's side, you have China, North Korea, and Iran. On Ukraine's side, you have the U.S. and NATO. Okay, all of them are funding weapons to those 2 groups to let them fight, and they sit back and watch what goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now a lot of people ask, well, okay, well, why would they just willingly just give Ukraine weapons like that, knowing that they don't have a possible chance of winning? Okay. It's not about winning. It was never about winning. Now you think, Russia / Soviet Union, they haven't been in no conflicts for a long time. So when they did actually go to war with Ukraine, they've lost a lot of soldiers. They've lost a lot of soldiers. So the war wasn't never to actually win. It was to downsize. So if you hit them and you hit them where it hurt, and you start killing all the constructs and knocking out weapons depots, you knocking out satellite radio jamming systems, you knocking out all these different bases and stuff like that. What happens? You weaken them. So then later on, if you decide that you want to come back after that and clean up the rest of it, it's easy for you to do because you basically done knocked them down to a point that they couldn't win on their own without resorting to a nuclear conflict, which a lot of these nations are not going to do, because once you start into something like that, you just basically
Waking up the whole world.
Right. You're gonna just spark it for everyone. You know what I mean? And that's the last thing that they're trying to do. So But you have this, and like I said, he's pointing the fingers because they was it like 2 weeks ago they were saying that that Biden secretly gave Ukraine permission to fire on these depot stations and these missile stations that was on actual Russian territory. And the reasoning behind that was, okay, you're shooting missiles from Russia into Ukraine. You're not actually in Ukraine shooting these missiles. So if you shoot missiles from Russia inside of Ukraine, then it's only right that Ukraine can shoot missiles outside and hit what you shooting.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So that's what that's what's going on here. And so there's a lot of finger pointing, all the way to the point where I guess Vladimir Putin contacted the U.S. ambassador and basically told him, like, listen, we need to have a conversation. We need to talk this out before something goes on and that we can't take back. Basically gave him 24 hours to come and try to talk. Well, he was going to make a decision within 24 hours. That's what he was going to do. But he reached out wanting to have this conversation, So part of the conversation that they were having, their quote, quote, little peace talk, but it's not actually where it's like, okay, we're gonna just call it quits. We're gonna go back on our side. We're gonna leave this alone. It was a little bit more to it than that. So he wanted to end it, but he wanted to end it where it was all in his favor. So his proposal was, he wanted 4 regions in Ukraine. He wanted them to abandon the NATO bid that they were, because they're currently trying to get into NATO, and NATO is actually pushing for Ukraine to go into NATO, which is, I know the answer to that, but I'm not even gonna get into it.
Mm-hmm.
The third thing is that they wanted them to completely demilitarize any troops that they had in Ukraine, and they wanted the West to remove all sanctions. So that was his quote, quote, peace agreement. Okay. So you give me your land, say no to NATO, get rid of your military,
And we
send
won't
them all
mess you
over here
up.
to me. Right. And I want NATO and the US to drop all these sanctions, and then we'll leave. So you know the answer that he got. Nah.
Of course not.
Nah, we ain't gonna do it. Nah, we ain't gonna do it. So, like you said last week, this is a chess game. So they're going back and forth, back and forth. So what you got on this, Aaron? What's your pick on this?
Well, I want to go to the missile for a second. With the Crimean missile, or the missile came down the Crimean beach, I saw the video after it was hit in the air by Russian air defense, and that missile released bomblets. A lot of it, about 2/3 of it, landed in the water. The rest of the bomblets landed on shore, and I was like, man, that whole beach is going to be banned, because anybody step on any of that, it's going to explode. And apparently some of them did explode and injured and killed people. What I thought was amazing was 2 things. One, the missile was a cluster munition. I thought cluster munitions was outlawed years ago. Unless they changed the law, I didn't know that we was allowed to be issuing that out there for people to use. And then 2, the ATACMS that was used could have only been programmed by U.S. servicemen. Ukraine service people do not have the sophistication to program that missile. So if nothing else, Russia can definitely point the finger at us on that. I'll stop there for right now.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So with the what they have going on now, okay, so like I said, you got You got the finger pointing going on now. Okay. And it was more along the lines where, okay, like we're doing this and we've been doing this. We've been shooting missiles from Russia over into Ukraine, and we've been doing this for a period of time. Now, you mad because they done shot one back. And they done killed 4 people and it injured 151, if I'm not mistaken. But what about all these men, women, and children that's been killed in the past 2 years that was innocent? That didn't have nothing to do with nothing. You know, these are hundreds of thousands
Wow.
that were killed.
Wow.
You know,
Did not
you
know it was
pitching
that
a
many.
fit over, right? You pitching a whole fit over 4, but you didn't kill hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians that didn't have anything to do with this.
Sounds
You know
like
what I mean?
America's reaction to shit. That's crazy.
Exactly.
Mm.
So my question to both of you is, in your own opinion, do you think that him complaining justified based on what they've already done to them?
Damn. Not really sure. Not really sure if it's justified or not. I would have to get more information diving deep into this exact subject, but this is a heavy one for sure.
But what I'm meaning is, well, let me give you a little bit more then, so that way you can
Mhm.
understand what I'm saying. Okay, so Russia has been sending missiles over into Ukraine, right? And they've killed thousands of innocent people, men, women,
Mhm.
and children, thousands of them. Okay, now Ukraine sends a rocket over to Russian
Russia.
territory, which is
Mhm.
Crimea. Which actually Crimea actually used to belong to Ukraine, but when they did the annexation, they end up taking it. Okay, so they shoot a missile over there to hit a weapons convoy. From my understanding, that's what they were after, and it killed 4 people and it wounded
Okay.
151 people. So what I'm
Right.
saying is that with Putin pointing the finger, talking about, y'all shot a
Mhm.
missile over here, and he's furious over this. Is him being furious justified, being the fact that y'all killed thousands of men, women, and children
Right.
on the other side?
It's
And
sad to
you,
do the ratio aspect of human life, but it is kind of true. You know, you look at, whether it be thousands, tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands of people dead, and then you're going to be like upset when they retaliate. For every action, there's a reaction. You got to expect it. And for there to be only really honestly 4 casualties is a big deal in the sense of like you're lucky it didn't happen to more people. So I don't know if it's actually justified to be that angry.
Well, to me, it's a propaganda game. Whoever speaks up first and
Mm.
hollers foul gets the news headlines, and everybody wants to look as though they're the good guy. But also keep in mind, we're not the one who invented the phrase acceptable losses. So, to make a point, they're willing to take life. When lives get taken on their end, now they want to cry foul and get in front of the press and sell that propaganda to win hearts and minds of people support over to them.
Mhm.
Everyone wants to believe that their cause is the right cause, but in the world, where's the morality going to be if you're just taking human life for the heck of it and talking about what those were acceptable losses later?
right. I found this video here. When I was just talking about the little fake peace agreement that he was offering. I just found a little quick one about
Cool.
this. It just basically kind of give you an understanding as to what he's asking for. But it's, when you look at it, it's more along the lines of, okay, you want me to leave you alone? You want to make peace? Okay, so you give me all this, and then I'll leave you alone.
Right. It's a bully
You
tactic
know,
essentially. Yeah.
so you crying on one end, but you trying to be a bully on the other.
Yeah.
You know, and then you wonder why Ukraine is saying no deal. I ain't basically, I'm not rocking with you. You know, so now you're even more mad because you're like, you know, I offered you this deal, you didn't take it. Well, it really wasn't a deal.
Right.
It was more you taking everything and
Forcing the hand. Yeah.
right and walking off. Like basically, yeah, you forcing my hand on this. So let me
I'm sorry. I
go
can
ahead.
tell you why they offered that cheap deal. They did an analysis on Ukraine's chance if they didn't receive no more advanced weaponry, how much longer they could last, and the analysis showed the war would be over with by Christmas because they're up in their ages of the 40s going into the 50s recruiting men. And I hate to say it, but men in the 50s don't have very much mobility, and they're almost out of manpower. So you take the deal, or we're going to decimate the rest of your male population. And you know, if you want to save life, you take the deal. If you want to be rebellious, you'll continue to fight. But without advanced weaponry, you got no chance. They're going to take you one way or the other. And once they capture you, they will probably execute all the leadership. And I'm pretty sure that's part of what the leadership is afraid of, is if they surrender, they're going to be marched in front of a Soviet firing squad and executed for fighting against them in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
They charge them
Right.
with war crimes or something and then execute them.
Oh yeah, naturally. Did you hear about the Russian satellite that they launched back a couple months ago that was on the same orbit as U.S. satellites, and it's
No
supposed
way.
to be. It's
Yeah,
supposed to be. This satellite is supposed to be some kind of weapon to disable
Yeah.
satellites.
EMP satellite.
Like an
Yeah.
EMP satellite. Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
It's
Mm-hmm.
weapons.
Yeah, I found I found a little something on that one too. Let me hit this one right quick. Let y'all check it out.
Russia likely launched what's called a counter space weapon capable. Russia likely launched what's called a.
So the question I have is, I don't know if it said it in the video right there or not, but how long ago did this get launched up? And then how long were until we found out? Like, did we find out right away when they did this, or did we find out when it was already too late?
Well, this just happened in May.
So this is very recent, obvious.
Oh yeah. They just did this last month.
Damn. So it took about a month for them to really report on it, or is this stuff that has been reported on?
No, I
about a
think
month
they
ago?
reported on it right when they found out. So when they
I was
that
gonna say,
report
how do they have that go over their heads without us knowing? You know what I mean? Like that would be kind of crazy. But
No,
I
we
mean,
can see any missile gets launched. We can see the launch. The computers pick it up immediately.
that's what I thought. Yeah.
We start tracking it. So they can't put nothing up in there that we can't see.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I thought it was funny where that reporter said, "Well, we asked them, we asked the Pentagon, was this a threat?" And he was like, "It's in our orbit." I mean, basically, duh, what you think? It's in our orbit. What do you think is it? I mean, you like some shit just don't need to be explained.
Right. For real.
You launched a satellite that is a weapon, and you have it in the same orbit as U.S. government satellites. What does that tell you?
That we have some fucking issues. That's what.
Exactly. So they said, but back a couple months ago, North Korea also launched a satellite.
Yep.
And the way its orbit is going is that it can go right over the US every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
It goes
shit.
right. It passes right over the middle part of the US every single day. So all this stuff that we're seeing right now, it seems to be where you have NATO, like I said, you have Russia, but now you're starting to see where these other ones are starting to come in. Now, Putin also made a comment the other day. Well, like, okay, well, since you giving Ukraine missiles to shoot over here, then what if I take some of my missiles and some of my technologies and give it to some of these adversaries who's against the West and
Mm-hmm.
let them fire on you.
Yeah, it's equal amount of war whether we do it or they do it. Yeah,
You know,
it's crazy.
so it's a lot of going back and forth. So also, that last week, Russia and North Korea, they showed on there where they had this this agreement, this mutual defense pact agreement, and I actually thought that this was something new. They're trying to stack the deck. They're going to do this mutual defense pact, but in all actuality, this defense pact has actually been in place since 1961. This is a Cold War era treaty.
Yeah, so this is way older than people even know.
Right. It was signed by Nikita Khrushchev and Kim Il Sung of North Korea, and they forged that bond between the two nations that was basically committing them to come to each other's aid in the event of an attack. This pact was a strategic response to the growing presence of the U.S. troops that was in South Korea, and it marked the beginning of a long-standing alliance between Russia and North Korea. So when we seen this in the news last week, and we were sitting there like, oh wow, here we go. Now they grouping up, doing this mutual defense pact. Well, it's been in effect.
I didn't know that. I thought this was something that was, signed off during this whole, Putin's little road trip, his vacation,
Right. And
I thought that's when it all happened.
Right. And then even after then, they had this, Russia and North Korea was still, kind of hit and miss sometimes. Like sometimes they didn't agree on everything, and they would argue and go back and forth on different stuff. Ever since then. But that pact was always still in place. That pact never went away. They never did away with that pact. So they were reporting it as though this was something new that came about.
Yes, and that's how I saw it being reported too.
Right. It's been around. So now, one thing about that, and Aaron, I'm going to have you go in on this. There's benefit for North Korea and Russia to form this pact back now. There's a reason for it. Now, the whole report of them, they showed them sitting there shaking hands and blah, they skipping. There's a reason for that. Aaron, I'm gonna let you go ahead and tell them what that reason is.
Part of their agreement was that North Korea, seeing that one of their major exports is munitions, is that they would start sending munitions to Russia. So if Russia's actually running low on artillery rounds and rockets and stuff, they're about to get their munitions rebuilt up. And in returns, they would have the benefit both economically and militarily from going into a pact with Russia, because Russia can supply North Korea with advanced weapons. As of today, North Korea is going to be deploying troops to Ukraine, and they will not be wearing Russian uniforms like some of the other proxies have been. They're going to be in North Korean uniforms. So,
okay.
And then,
so let me ask you this. This, since you just said that. Now, this war is supposed to be between Russia and Ukraine. So, if North Korea sends troops and they cross that line into Ukraine, that's kind of like gloves off at that point. Because it's like, okay, so if we can't be in here, why they asses in here?
Right. Who's given the authority?
Well, I can answer that. I can answer that. The U.S. has lifted the ban on private military contractors, PMCs, and mercenaries that are Americans, that are American trained, to be able to serve in Ukraine. So if you got an outfit operating under CIA like Blackwater that hires a bunch of people that are getting close to the end of serving their time with Uncle Sam, seduces them with a bunch of money, brings them in, and has them do the exact same thing that they were trained to do for the United States. They can go do it in was it Ukraine? Yeah, they can go to Ukraine and do it now. Not in American uniform, but still they're private military contractors or they're mercenaries. So
Right.
that's the backdoor way. That's the backdoor way of slipping in troops and not be able to claim responsibility. Also, South Korea is going to be sending munitions now also to Ukraine.
See, but like even with that, wouldn't that be one of them deals? Like, okay, we gonna slip these guys in now. If you you know, like in the movies, if you get caught, you know, this is what they call that, plausible deniability.
That's right.
Isn't that what they call that?
Yeah.
We don't know nothing about you being there. Now,
Right.
Now you can sneak some Americans in there, and let's say that you killed one or two and whatever. You can walk by and look at him, and you can't tell whether he was American or Ukraine, but you can damn sure tell a Russian from a fucking Korean. You can damn sure tell the difference.
100%.
You know what I mean? So it's like this little proxy war is kind of like how you making rules as you go. Like, okay, it's them. Okay, so it's Russia and Ukraine, and they'll be like, well, you know what I mean? I'm gonna give you some of these. I'm gonna let you use some of these because I know you don't got it. So we got to try to even the playing field a little bit.
These are
You know what I mean?
tactics of war, man.
Right, not too much, but we're gonna give you just enough that you can even the playing field. I mean, you just ain't gonna go out there and just walk in front of a damn bullet. We'll give you a little something to hit them back. Okay. Okay, so now you sitting there like, okay, well, you know, y'all running out of people. You know what I mean? And y'all ain't hitting them right. You ain't hitting them like you're supposed to be hitting. You ain't hitting them right. So let me sprinkle a couple of these people in there and let them, you know, help you and show you how this is supposed to be done. Let's show, you know, like look at them and be like, hey, like show them how to kill people, please show them.
Yeah. Show them.
You know, so then you got on the other side where you got, you know, Kim Jong Il, you know what I mean? His fat ass been wanting to get on board with something forever. You know what I mean? Because he kind of like the fat kid that nobody play with. You know what I mean?
You
So
got bullied in school, man.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I said it. Come holler at me.
That's right.
He like the fat kid that nobody plays with, you know, and he's sitting there like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna get him. Watch, I'm gonna get him. He goes, so he's just waiting for an opportunity for him to jump in and do something. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Which is gonna be bad for him though, in the long run. I mean, now mind you, North Korea do have bunkers and stuff like that, but I'm just saying, you know, they don't make all these damn stealth bombers and all that stuff for no reason. There's a reason for them having that. You know what I mean? Now, mind you may have all these bunkers, but you got to get to them. You know what I mean? And if I'm over top of you before you realize I'm over top of you, now what?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like this little chess game is getting a little, like I said last week, this chess game is going to turn into Chinese checkers. You're going to have everybody trying to come in and do
it's
their
not
little
just
something.
two different countries at this point. It's gonna definitely expand and expand and expand like it already has.
Exactly. So
Scary.
but you know that once you hit North Korea, then you know China gonna jump in.
Yep, China's definitely
You know what
holding
I mean?
out for
So
that moment.
they all side by side with each other. You know what I mean? So if North Korea jumps into something, then South Korea gonna come over on this side. So then China gonna have to go over on that end.
And then here comes World War III.
You know, so then right. I mean, because it's like everybody got to pick their side. You know what I mean? Pick a side. What
Well,
you
I'm
gonna
not
do?
trying to be funny, but plane flights between Russia and China's leaders going to North Korea and Iran, that group is forming up as 4-on-1 against the United States. They're not saying we're joining up to fight NATO. They're specifically saying we're joining up to fight the United States. Now, everybody else can holler NATO and stuff all they want, but those four are specifically unifying to gang up on us.
Target the U.S. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can agree with you on that. I can agree with you on that. I mean, being the fact that other than, even if you look at NATO, other than the U.S., the biggest force next to the U.S. is Turkey. Am I correct? I think Turkey is the second.
Yeah,
Yeah, Turkey is the second one. And they've been kind of sitting back, like they really ain't been saying too much. Like 1 minute they say, well, we're in NATO, so we're going to defend and help, protect our land, blah 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 blah. And then on the next end, you hear them was like, nah, you know what? We don't really want to have no issues with this. We don't even want to be involved. Well, you're gonna be involved. Either way it go, you have no choice but to be involved. You know what I mean? Because if you're not involved, then they're gonna shoot something up your ass, and then you ain't gonna have no choice but to be involved. You know what I mean? So just like World War II, you know what I mean? If the US never would have put that embargo on Japan, the US would never have been in World War II. Am I right?
yeah. We pushed them into a corner, and Japan doesn't have oil, so without oil they couldn't do their expansion plans there in the Indonesian area, and we backed them into a corner, and they came out swinging.
Mm-hmm. Right. So if that never took place, Pearl Harbor would have never happened.
Even happened. Right.
The US would have never been involved in World War II. They'd have just kept sitting there, making weapons and tanks and everything else.
But it
And
turned into that Chinese checkers play.
collecting money. Yeah, because that's exactly what they were doing. Because they were trying to stay, they were actually staying out of it most of the time.
Right.
They were trying to stay out of it until that part took place. And once they did that oil embargo on Japan, that's when they came over. And that's how Pearl Harbor happened. And US ended up in World War II, and the whole, the rest of it is history.
Right.
But it all started from somewhere. You know what I mean? It took one thing to happen.
It's good to know
get
how
us
it
involved
stems, for sure.
Right. Like the US they're like the big brother to everybody. You know what I mean? Whenever you pushing on somebody, then they're gonna come in, step in and do what they do. It's always been that way. All of us that serve in the military, we all understood that it's, we're the big brother of the world. You know what I mean? So of course, nobody's gonna like you. None of these
Right.
countries like you.
Well, anytime you're at the top of anything, they're going to be clawing at you to take that number one spot. It's just
Right.
the way that it works. It's the way it happens.
Right. So none of them likes us. I mean, even though a lot of them will break their neck to get over here, as you see, they breaking their neck trying to come over here. They don't like you. You know what I mean? Which is kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I hate them, but I want to be there too.
Totally.
I don't know which one I want to do. Do I hate them?
I hate to love them.
Right. Do I hate them that much that I don't want to go over there? Because that's exactly what's going on. You know what I mean? And it's there's I seen on the news the other day that they forward another could have been terrorist attack. They've been catching them left and right. They've been sitting there watching them for the past year. You know what I mean? You should be catching them. You've been watching them. I mean, as you say, you've been watching them. So you should be foiling some of these plans, but it's a lot of them. They've been trying to get into these military installations and stuff like that. They've been catching them around, sneaking around, trying to get into fences and all kind of different stuff here lately. They've actually foiled a couple of them where there was actual explosives involved. that they were able to capture them before anything took place.
Mm.
So, which brings me to my next one. And I know we're talking about so we talked about Russia and Ukraine and about them pointing the fingers. And, once again, like I said, they sitting there pointing the finger saying, well, the U.S. did this, U.S. did that. Okay, so what was their retaliation? What did they try to do to add a little fuel to the fire? They hacked the Federal Reserve.
Oh boy.
So there was now this is the second time the Federal Reserve has been hit.
Within a couple year span too, right?
Right. It was hit. Well, actually, it was hit last year. It was hit last year in 23. And that's when Anonymous hit them.
That's when they got them. Right.
Yeah, that was back in September 23. It hasn't even been a year yet. Okay,
Wow.
well, they got hit again the other day by Lockbit. Aaron, I know you know a little bit about Lockbit, so I'll let you jump in and throw a little info out about that, and we're gonna bounce back.
Yeah, definitely.
I
please
got
do.
A video about it as well.
Well, on June 23rd, Lockbit broke in. Now, Lockbit is a Russian-based ransomware group. They're the most active ransomware group on the set. I mean, they make money hand over fist. I want to believe they're state sponsored, because you can't be getting away with what they're doing and people within your country or government don't know about you. But for them to get in past the Federal Reserve's redundant security systems, I'm amazed at that. And while they were in there, they were able to get 33 terabytes of information. And apparently, if they don't get paid off, they're going to release that information to the public, what they was able to find out. So I'm sure the Federal Reserve, who makes the money for the United States, whatever they're into, they sure don't want that information hitting public's hands.
That's a lot of memory of information for data. It's not video content that's being stored. This is all names, lists, your full on data, your phone numbers, everything, right? Like I can imagine everything that the Federal Reserve has on us. I can only imagine. I
mean, that's the people who makes our money. And if you can hack the people to make our money, you can get in anywhere.
Yep.
So and we talked about cyber attack groups that are out there that are state sponsored. China has them, Russia has them. They seem to be able to hit us at will, and we don't seem to be able to stop them. So that's the reason I keep warning people. You better be prepared for the water grid to go down. The water grid, power grid, and communications go down when things start to happen, because they're gonna take everything down that they can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna hit this. I'm gonna hit this video. Matter of fact, there's two.
Cool.
I'm gonna play one that's talking about how Anonymous hit him back in 23, back in September. And then I'm going to follow up with the recent one.
Cool.
That happened the other day.
Into the national bank, the Federal Reserve, a 21st century thief breaking into files, not into metal safes. The mysterious group Anonymous has struck again with a warning. This is just the beginning. ABC's senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas tells us who these people are.
This is the public face of Anonymous, the shadowy group behind the hacking attack on the Federal Reserve, which sets monetary policy for the U.S. economy.
This time there will be change, or there will be chaos.
Anonymous is a loosely affiliated network of hackers spread across the globe. During the hack of the Fed, Anonymous stole the login credentials of some 4,000 bankers from across the country, allowing the group to potentially disrupt a key emergency communication system.
Citizens of the world, we have seen the erosion of due process, the dilution of constitutional rights.
Greg House, a former member of Anonymous, says expect more attacks on the government.
All these big bankers and all these big rich people who have caused a lot of the problems we've had for the last few years are not getting prosecuted.
The FBI has had some success against suspected Anonymous associates, arresting at least 20 including one man during this bust caught on a webcam. But finding and arresting members of Anonymous is challenging. For the FBI, each targeted computer network is a crime scene.
Well, in any computer crime, you want to look for the digital footprints. So you look to trace the incoming traffic that's attacking the computer, and you look to see where the file was exported to.
And a big investigative tool, FBI agents posing as hackers and trying to infiltrate Anonymous itself. In addition, the Anonymous videos are also clues. The video may contain embedded location information if the hackers do not scrub it out. And the pictures may tell investigators something about the hackers too. An online game of cat and mouse is underway right now with an invisible enemy. Pierre Thomas, ABC News, Washington.
So this just got sent to me just a few minutes ago. So the Lockbit ransomware group announced that it had breached the U.S. Federal Reserve and exfiltrated over 33 terabytes of sensitive data. Right now, this is alleged. Nothing is confirmed. But if this is confirmed, this would be a significant data breach, very detrimental to the U.S. banking industry with all that financial data. So they've given them till the 25th of June to pay the ransom, or they are going to release all that information. It is on Lockbit's data leak site, and so that's kind of where we're at on that point. Again, nothing has been verified. This is all alleged, and as we get more information, I will definitely keep you updated on this one, as this one is a potentially catastrophic cyber attack / data breach.
Man, I wonder how much money the ransom is for that.
Well, I'm gonna say, seeing that today's the 26th, and we ain't seen nothing hit the news, they paid them. Bottom line.
Right. Right.
Now, you know, I got a question. Maybe either one of you can answer. But we've seen quite a bit of hacking going on here in the past year and a half, you know, where they done jumped into different infrastructures and did ransomware, stuff like that, trying to get Bitcoin and everything else. But they ain't asking for cash. They asking for Bitcoin and stuff like that.
Yep.
Now, you hear about all this different stuff going on, and these hackers is coming in and they doing all this stuff. But you never hear about none of them actually getting caught.
That's a good point.
So are they just hacking at will, getting the Bitcoin and going on about their business?
Right.
Like, what's really going on there? Because you never see a news report to say, hey, we caught such and such, and they were the ones who hacked the hospital in Chicago, Illinois, or they was the ones that hacked the water treatment plant in Colorado or whatever.
It's really hard to track down these guys. I mean, these guys are using top of the line equipment, VPNs, and everything else to essentially, like the woman was saying, you got to find all the digital footprints. But it's fairly easy for these hackers to essentially erase all of their traces online, and that's what makes it extremely hard. That's even the feds can't figure it out.
Right. So, what do you think, Aaron?
I'm not that computer literate, so I can't really speak on it. But as far as the cyber attacks, I'm very fearful of that, because who can you target with a nuke if you don't know who's hitting you? I mean, you could send cyber attackers inside this country, come across our border, they start shutting stuff down over here, and you'd have nobody to go after because they could be totally mobile. They can set up one place and do their thing and then leave and go to another state or something. I mean, who are you going to target?
Right.
So, I'm going to stop there.
Trying to figure out, so with all these different hacks that's going on, ain't none of them ain't nobody getting caught. Nobody getting caught. But everybody getting everybody getting a shitload of Bitcoin and everything.
Yeah, they're getting a payday. They're getting a payday and not getting caught. I'm in the wrong business.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's like, shit, man. Let's go ahead and start a business.
Yeah, I'm like, hell, I'm working the wrong job. I need to learn how to do some of this shit. Then if I'm just, you ain't catching them, you ain't doing nothing with them. You know what I mean?
You guys are just letting them willy nilly. Well, shit, man, I'll be a part of it.
Right. Now, when they did this when they hacked the Federal Reserve, you know, stores like Walmart, for example, like they completely closed down. They made everybody leave. If you had groceries, put them back, just leave them where it's at. Who had the workers put it back? Like they completely deserted these stores. Did you hear about that?
No.
You hear about that, Aaron?
No.
Let me show you.
Oh man. Not
Okay,
surprising.
so what? So they trying to blame that on Julian Assad now? I
Right.
mean, he's been in jail he's been in jail forever. Now, since you didn't let him out, they said this hack happened the day after. So what they trying to say that he was a part of it somehow?
I didn't hear about that one, but I did hear about the car lots being hacked. Ford Motor Company and related car lots did get hacked, and they shut that down for a while. I don't know if that was ransomware or just a hacking, but I definitely heard about that last week.
Yeah. Man, I'm telling you, this stuff is getting crazy as we go. I mean, it seems like every week is something. Every week is something that's going
It
on.
is. Every single week it is something. And it's something mega every time.
Yeah. Now, this is okay, so with the federal, you know, they're trying to go. I'm pretty sure that they're working around the clock trying to figure out, like, okay, who did this? I mean, and how did they do it?
Yep.
You know, you remember back when we was talking about back a while ago when we was talking about how Microsoft got hit, and it just happened to be a dummy program that they had that had admin authority that nobody had messed with in a while. They used it when they was, you know, building some programs or whatever, and they were able to get into that and go all the way down to the source code.
Yep.
And get it Microsoft. You know what I mean? And that's a lot. When you get down to the actual source code, I mean, that's the bones.
Right. You're going all the way down.
Yeah, that's the bones. Now, of course, they got ransomware for that as well, you know, and then and from what I've heard goes on is like they infiltrate these systems and they basically lock it down. You can't do anything with it. And then they put this ransom out. You pay the ransom, and then they send you this code that unlocks everything, and you can go back into your systems. Now, here's my question, and I'm gonna give this to you, Mike, because I know you more of the computer guy. Okay, so I put the hack on. You done paid me. I send you a code that you can get back into the system. But what's stopping me from putting, let's say, a Trojan horse in that system that I can go back into it whenever I wanted to? And you had no idea that it's even there. And it's just written right in the source code, and it'll take you umpteen years to find it.
Yep. And that's exactly what is most likely done to a lot of these different things, whether it be codes or whatever they're reaching into, let's say a computer. This is why you'll usually have either companies or the government themselves, when it's them happening to them, usually they'll have a team that goes into the computers and wipes literally basically a whole clean slate so that they know for sure that there isn't anything else on there, because you absolutely can have that happen. That's you know, when you can log into these computers essentially, and I've done it before on my side, so I know what it's like to tap into a computer from my computer. and you can absolutely just start downloading anything you wanted. You can do anything. You can put codes in. You can do all of that. So absolutely, all of that's possible.
Yeah. So so basically, what you're saying is that I can put something in there. I can go ahead and give you this code here. You can jump in and go through and look at it, and you never see it.
Yep.
And then one day when you least expect it, all of a sudden, everything
Totally
goes
could.
down. And be like, oh man, I done got hacked again. No, you ain't get hacked again. You got
You
hacked
just
by the
left it in
same
there.
people.
Yep.
You got hacked by the same people who did it in the first place. They just left a little something in there that they could get back to it anytime they wanted. You know, that's what you would think that, if you were hacking something to that extreme, you knew or know, that that's a once in a lifetime thing that you're able to jump into this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But once you got into it, you're like, okay, I'm gonna leave something in here
so I can save and come back later. Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Right. I'm gonna leave something in here. I mean, like, even if you left something in there, like, okay, I put something in the source code to where, 1/10 of a cent goes to an account,
Sure.
that they will never find. Something
Mhm.
like that. Just something crazy. And it just sits there and just build and build and build forever. And you have no idea that it was even there.
Yeah, no, it's scary to think about, and that's essentially why you have these teams, these big teams. For everything that we've got in the government, we have like counter, the counter hack, software, and the people that come in, and that the government has is very powerful people, and that they know what the hell they're doing, so they know how to like wipe slates clean, get everything brand new again, because that's essentially what could happen very well.
Okay.
And same thing with these big companies like Microsoft or whatever, they have intelligence teams to deal with that.
Right. So with the so with that being said, if something like that actually takes place again, I mean, actually, to think like this one here, they just wanted Bitcoin. But what if someone actually hacked it and they didn't want anything?
Right. No ransom, no nothing. Now they just got full control over you.
Yeah, they didn't want. Yeah, they don't want nothing. They just want to be able to, like, okay, we're gonna take this over,
and now we're gonna mess with you and take it over and take it for real.
Right. And they'd be like, well, what do you want? I don't want nothing.
Yep.
I'm just gonna
Can't
shut you
even
down
buy
for
me.
a while. Right, I'm gonna shut you down for a while. Y'all doing too much. I'm gonna shut you down.
We got to spank you guys. Yep.
So what happens then? I mean, how much civil unrest would that cause, Aaron?
And it will be something. Any sort of interference with the money is going to cause serious trouble. So,
and a lot of lives.
Think, like, these people were probably going nuts in Walmart. They're walking around with, a buggy full of groceries, and they announce something. They're like, okay, everybody out.
Yep.
Leave your buggy where it's sent. Get out.
Well, I can tell you this. In the early 2000s, I was at a gun show at Dayton Hare Arena. And I remember there was a glitch in the system for the welfare cards, and it stretched over 7 states, which I felt that was a cyber attack then. But they called it a glitch. And everyone who's supposed to got money put on their card that weekend got nothing. And I'm telling you, I was hearing people coming into the gun show talking about how people were starting to get violent at the grocery store counters with the clerks who had nothing to do with their cards not having any money put on. But they flat out told them, you got nothing on this card, you can't buy nothing. And people were getting indignant. So I can only imagine what it would be if it went past 1 day or 2 days.
Well, if I were an employee there, I would have waited for like literally unrest where people are starting to just steal shit, just breaking windows, all havoc, just chaos. That's literally what I thought the video was going to happen, what was going to happen in the video, which I'm glad that didn't happen because it's unnecessary for sure. But yeah, And I may need a thesaurus. No, I don't need one, and I actually do know how to write in cursive. Can you believe it, guys? I actually know how to write in cursive. The one millennial that knows how to.
Yeah, they don't even teach kids that no more, do they?
I think I was the last class. I remember they started teaching us in 3rd grade, and I think I was the last of the bit.
Mm.
Yep.
Now, when we was talking about the civil unrest, if something like that took place, okay, and I mean, like, of course, the first thing someone's gonna do, they're gonna panic. They're gonna panic. They're gonna try to, like, okay, well, since it ain't taking my money, it ain't taking my card, I'm just gonna take it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is that's generally what's gonna get it started, and then you have the panic that goes on after then.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of the reasons why we keep talking about planning ahead and having stuff together just in case. So that way you're not one of these ones out there fighting over a loaf of bread or, fighting over a pack of meat, which
For real.
Actually both of them you shouldn't even buy anyway during that particular time because it's not going to hold up. But they'll bypass all the canned food to go back and take that and get that steak and them hot dogs and the hamburgers.
That's some serious talk right there. For real.
I mean, something that you're gonna eat right now, but you're gonna be hungry
Can't
as hell
save
next
it.
week.
You can't save it longer than a week.
Right. So this is another reason why we keep bringing this stuff up every. There's stuff that's happening, and it's not hidden. It's basically, what's the term they use? Hidden in plain sight. It's right there. And the only reason why a lot of people don't know is because they don't actually look for it. They don't look at it. You know what I mean? Now, of course, you're not going to find it in the news. We're gonna put that out there. You're not going to find it in the news. They're not going to tell you that, that the Federal Reserve is hacked. Not only is it hacked, but they stole all this information that they can turn into, just give it to the highest bidder. Whoever wants it, here you go. They can jump in and just basically cripple the whole country. They're not going to do that. Why? Because that's going to scare everyone. Everybody will panic. Everybody start running to the banks. You know what I mean? The bank's already in trouble. You already got, what was it, 68, 69 banks that's in trouble right now?
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
There's a lot of stuff that's going on. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. Even the people who think like, okay, well, this is a little far-fetched. This may not take place. This is something that
it's totally reachable.
Right. This is like, it's like a tale told by a fool.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not paying attention to what we sitting here telling you. So there's a lot that's going on right now. We're at the precipice right now that the U.S. could be at war. The U.S. could go through, on U.S. soil, could actually have a terrorist attack.
Mm-hmm.
Or they could go in and hack the power grid or hack the water filtration plants.
And meanwhile, we're all going into a depression.
They can. All this stuff can actually happen. And with this stuff here, the thing with these hacks that make it so bad is that it can happen just like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Untraceable too.
Just like that. I mean, I could send you from 2024 to the 1600s, just like that.
Click of a button.
So
and I'd like to add something to what you just alluded to there about people being in this country. We don't have to be invaded by Russia or China. I mean, we've got 8 million people coming in this country by the end of 2023. It was estimated 8 million. Actually, the figure would be higher right now. But if you go with the 8 million figure and say 96% of those people are good people, nothing's wrong with them, but 4% are bad. That's 320,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be chanting death to America. That could be doing sabotage, terrorism, poisoning medicines, poisoning water, poisoning food. I mean, it don't take long to stick a hypodermic needle into a carton of milk or something and then inject it with something. There could be so much happening, and we're already invaded. We just hope that they don't go active.
Mm-hmm. Wow. It's a lot to that's a lot to process.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, like every week it seems like it's a little more and a little more and a little more.
Just adding to that bubble before it pops, you know?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And
Got to stay prepared.
I mean, I think about this quite a bit. You know, I had a conversation the other day with a full bird colonel, U.S. Army, and we were just sitting there, you know, just talking about random stuff, and I brought up some of this stuff that we've been talking about, and the first thing that I brought up was the petrodollar, and I asked him, did he know what it was? You know, he was like, no, what is that? So I went through and I started explaining to him, and as I'm breaking it down to him, he's just looking at me. He was like, are you serious? That's real? I'm like, yeah, it's real. It's very real.
You were the one that told me too, and I was like, "That's real?" You're like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
damn straight."
So then we jump from there, and like as I'm going, I'm, you know, like at that point, I'm kind of flowing at that point. So I'm hitting them with this and hitting them with this. And I told him, I said, well, you know what? You need to go on the show and watch some of these episodes.
For real.
So I shot him the link. He was like, okay. He said, well, when I get a chance, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take a look at that. He said, because what you telling me is that's kind of scary. I may have to reevaluate some things. But let me go back and watch what you got on there. So like I said, he came to the barbershop, finished cutting his hair, sent him on his way. So I'm on my way home. About 4 or 5 hours later, I get a phone call from him.
Wow.
And he said, hey man, I just want to holler at you real quick. Sure, what's going on? He said, first thing I wanted to do was tell you about the when I got home, my old lady loved the haircut. She's sitting here rubbing on my head. She said, he said, I feel like I was the other dude. He says to the husband, he said, you know, she was all on me. So I appreciate that. He was like, but the second thing is the stuff he was telling me. I'm like, okay. He said, I went back and I watched about 3-4 of your shows today. He said, and can I give you a piece of advice? Sure. What you got? He said, after watching these shows and listening to you talk, he said, the best thing that I can tell you is you guys keep doing what you're doing, because the stuff that you're putting out there is beneficial for everyone. So don't let no one stop you or stop your voice. Continue to do what you do. That came from a full bird colonel.
Yeah, that's incredibly dope right there, dude. No joke.
That to me, that spoke volumes. You know what I mean? It kind of put into perspective exactly what we are doing here, and hopefully people are adhering to what we are saying here and being able to go out and make these necessary precautions, not because we're saying something is going to go on, because we're not saying that,
right,
but just to be proactive in case something does, because the way everything seems to be turning out is it's not looking good, you know. So we have to make some kind of preparation.
Yeah,
just
stay on top of it.
You know what I mean? And like I said, if it don't happen, it don't happen.
That would be the best case scenario.
You still have it. You know what I mean? If it don't happen, it don't happen. You're like, okay, I got this stuff, and you know, okay, cool. Don't worry about it, because guess what? This stuff here lasts forever. Don't worry about that. You got it. You know what I mean? As opposed to something actually happening and you left high and dry, and you one of these ones that's running around, scratching and trying to get every little bit that you can get last minute because
Yeah, that's a shitty
stuff is not
feeling
back.
too.
Exactly. So we didn't hit this for where we at now.
112.
112. So we're gonna shut it down for the evening. But I'm gonna say my little thing here, and then I'm gonna let you two do what y'all do, and then we're gonna close it out for these people can finish watching their Lifetime movies or whatever else they were doing before they jumped on this show.
That's right.
But like I said, first off, I want to thank everybody that comes on here every week, that watches this show, that goes out and talk to other people and have them to come on and watch these shows and subscribe to the channels and jumping on the Facebook group.
That's huge, by the way. Yes.
Yeah, that's jumping up. Like I said, the ones, if you're not on the Facebook group, go on Facebook, type in the Dominant Effect, get on that group. There's a lot of stuff going on there. It's just a lot of people, doing what they should do, communicating, having a couple of laughs and enjoying each other, as you should do. But I appreciate you nonetheless. Each and every week you guys come on here and you watch and like I said, you talk about it, and I'm hoping that you're learning something. That's the whole point in this. And if we're able to save one family for everything that we're talking about, it's well worth it.
Yep.
So
then we did the job.
Yeah. So like I said, next week we're gonna have something else. Next week we're gonna have another one and another one, another one. Lord help us, we can keep going until he says it's time that we don't. So
right.
So till next week, peace and love, everybody. And once again, I appreciate you.
That's right. We can't do this show without you guys, and that's from the bottom of our heart, for real. Make sure you guys go if you have any, questions for, AB or anything like that. His email is scrolling on the bottom right there. His Instagram as well as his Facebook, TikTok. If you guys are enjoying the content, man, and want to help out monetarily on the Diamond Effect, there is the Cash App, $Bishop 8752. That would be super rad if you guys can send in something and help out the show. Please make sure you guys are liking the video, as it is the number 1 metric of all of YouTube. Commenting obviously is a huge engagement spike on the channel, and also sharing it with a friend is like, word of mouth on the street, but for the internet. So it means the world. Also follow me on my Instagram right down there at BallValve TV, and I will hand that over to Aaron.
Okay. I do want to say this. If you don't believe anything that we're saying, then I'm going to add one more straw to break the camel's back here and hope that this motivates you. There's 2 challenges to our economy right now. It's the national debt crisis. That's 100% real. We're at $34 trillion and we can't even make the interest payments. Then there's the de-dollarization that's happening around the world with these countries, because we lost the petrodollar agreement and the BRIC Alliance is offering them a better deal, and they're dumping the US dollar. All those dollars coming back to our economy is going to create more inflation. Things is going to cost more. Back in 85, 86, I saw old ladies and old people eating cat food, canned cat food, to try to make it.
Oh, that's rough.
And I don't want to see that happen to nobody. By us putting this warning out there, stock up on some food, water, medicines, and things. If you're going to stock, say, a nutrition drink, I stock Ensure. Ensure has something in it for your bone density, something for your immunity. It has something in it for your energy. Pick a good drink that if you're not getting enough vitamins and minerals from your diet that you have to eat, that will supplement that. And the government supplementing with Ensure and another brand, I can't think of the name, but they're stockpiling that stuff right now. The United States is the only country, superpower in the world, that is not warning people to prepare.
Wow.
Australia, Germany, Sweden, Norway. I can go on and on. It's all telling their people to get ready. Ours isn't saying a word. So that the threat is real. I'll say a word to the wise is sufficient. I'll put it at that. And I'll stop there.
That being said, we will be back in 7 days, same bad time and the same bad channels as always. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. And, AB, if anything else, hopefully everyone has a wonderful evening. Much love.
One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free, then let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. One day I'm gonna be free.